Let me see now, what am I going to say now? Now, when I was a child, I should think it wasn't more than about 4, because 4 to 5, it wasn't any more than that. There was a cinema picture show came to the Forest of Dean, and the man who was working the machine, they got steam engine outside providing electricity, you know, and in there, and he was turning a handle at the back behind this picture. Yeah. And I was sat by him. I used to turn and watch him, like, and even to this day, I still think about that picture. It so upset me when I seen that film, because it ended up with this little girl coming down on a little stream on a sort of a raft, all a garden with flowers. She was dead. So, you know, that affected me. I was only a kiddie, but that affected me, and I always think about it, even the years gone by. I can imagine it now.
Do you think, Mr. Barton, that, you know, in your sort of young days at school, there was a lot of natural intelligence which never really was allowed to flower because of
That's quite right. It wasn't allowed to prosper, flourish.
Because of the conditions you lived in.
That's right. We couldn't afford any more. My mother, we were 5 of us in the family, you know, what could they do with one man's wages coming in? Yeah. I said, I really believe, I said, oh, I come to work down Northern College when I was 13, was because my mother persuaded Dad to get me down there because she wanted the money. And when I walked home the first week, I had 9 shillings. And I thought I got the world. Yes. And my mother gave me 3p pocket money out of it. That 9 shillings. But mind, it brought a week's grocery, that did then, though.
For we are the jovial foresters, our trade is getting cold. You never knew a forester, but was a hearty soul. Though black we are when at our work, you take us for some smoking Turk. When that is done, we're ripe for fun, to laugh and chat with anyone. For we're the jovial foresters, our trade is getting cold. You never knew a forester that was a hearty soul. Forester, wherever they may be, or
I went to school at the age of 3 at Sudeley Council School. The headmaster was Mr. A.J. Hull. And I stayed in school until I was 13 and went to work in the pit in December 1913. We were a family of 7 children and I was the second oldest. So whatever I could get towards the family was beneficial in those days. I started work at Eastern United, working at the coal face, working for my father.
And as I said on there, you had your buckling bag on your shoulder to march off, and that first day it was as big as a truck went, king of the castle. Very hard work there. You had to run in front of the horse would be pulling the drams of coal up. You had to run in front of it, supposed to be showing the horse some light, with a little oil lamp stuck in your cap. It wasn't enough light to light yourself, let alone the horse. But the idea really behind the scheme was, the faster you went, the faster the horse would come, you see. And you improve production that way, look.
Yes.
That was a very dangerous job for boys. The road was on an incline, look. And that horse and carts, they'd come belting down there. I had an experience of that one day. I was running in front of the horse and I stumbled over a clumber that had fallen in the road, look. My lamp fled out of my hat and went out. It was in pitch darkness and I could hear the horse and come belting down. So all I could do was to roll over into the side and crouch in the side. And as the carts went by, it took a box of matches out of my waistcoat pocket. As it went by, that's the sound here I was to being smashed up.
I was working in a place where one man got killed, but I was working with him, and the fall came. The tool he was working with punctured his stomach, had it like a shaft at the end of a shaft. But because he walked, I took him out so far, because he had to come out, look, because he couldn't carry on working. And the same night he died in Duke Hospital. But of course, when anything like that happened, the pit did close for the day. Everybody'd come out. When any person got killed in the pit, everybody else did come out. And there's no work that day, look. But I always thought there was more compassion with the men in the pit than what there was the men in the factory.
What did Mr. Adams do?
Collier.
He was, yeah. So you know all about that.
Oh, yes, and about dirty clothes.
Yeah.
Dirty off-fit trousers.
It was
there
a
was-
hard life for them, though, wasn't it?
It was hard work for them. I didn't think it was a hard life, not myself, because I was working all day and I was taking in sewing then, man.
Yeah, yeah.
1930s.
Yeah.
Ah, it
He
was
was
work.
still there then.
Ah. When they hadn't got no work then, mine.
No.
They were locked out, as you might say. We had to go and stand in queues and that there for food and that, like. But we had a garden and we could dig and do as we wanted to, look.
Yeah,
We used to keep pigs, mine.
yeah.
When we lived on Rordine Hill for a bit, and we had pigs and fowls there.
You got the choice. If you, as a young man, you could either work in the pit. If you didn't go in the pit, were directed by the government, you was in the army. I went on my own. I volunteered. I come out of the pit and volunteered.
You fancied being a soldier?
Well, it wasn't that. I was just a bit tired of the pit work. Or I wish I just stopped there. Though some of that later on. I had a bit of a rough time with it there.
Yeah.
And I don't talk much about it. I got over it.
A lot of stuff was used in the forest. You could live off the forest years ago. You could live off the forest. You could go out and get a rabbit, you could get a hare. Take a ferret out, put it all out to come with a rabbit. Put on there, it's all gone. Everything that came free, it's gone. Now you've got to pay for it. Everyone had a paper. Yeah, we always had bacon on the wall and that, and we had sheep as well, yeah, sheep. We had about 500 sheep at one time. There was no trouble with the sheep in those days, no. Not like there is now, no. Of course, they had more forest to run in then, look, they had more, and more food. They had acorns in beech mast. Well, now, you used to take me to a beech tree in the forest, you won't find one, they've cut them all down. Beech mast, well, natural food for sheep, and yeah, they've cut them all down, and pigs, and it's all gone.
Yeah, you should put up past 4 in the mornings, get all the sheep out the villages and and farms and that. Back to work at 7. And people think it's easy, but it's hard work, like.
At one time I had 2,000, but the only thing with me, why I had so many, all the old men was all given up. In them days, them was all miners, mate. Them was all old at 60, mate. And all their sons, them all had sons, but all of their sons hated sheep. Well, I was only softy, well, I loved them, mate. Yeah, I loved them. And then I did buy their sheep. We didn't have no fir trees in them days, mate. It was all hardwood, beech and oak. Well, I cut it all in and cleared it out all the way through.
My brother always said to me, before he died, like he said, if we ever got out of sheep for 6 months, you would never want him back again. Well, just before the foot and mouth, we were just getting out of sheep. I had just over 800 put down. No, it was like heartbreaking really, because I took all them years to be able to stock up, and it went just like that. I didn't turn back out after.
We had an acre of garden. I had 2 nanny goats for milk because it was a long way to go and get milk. I had cows over there, and we always fed a bacon pig. As poor as we was, we always fed a bacon pig. Yes, I used to go out and I used to pick the tops off the ferns and off the nettles, mangoes, boil it up in the old steel furnaces, put barley meal with it, and always fed a pig. Oh, goodness. It was the good old days. Let me tell you, it was the good old days.
Oh, in September, I went round with a neighbour lived opposite, picking blackberries.
Yeah.
I got 3 halfpence a pound for them. I had enough money to buy myself a new coat and hat and a pair of shoes. At the end of it, we only had 3 halfpence a pound. We used to walk for miles all round here, just picking blackberries. Must have been when I was 15, I went into service. A neighbour's daughter living close by, she was in this place, and they wanted a kitchen maid. Because there was no other jobs you could do. Washing up, cleaning the pots and pans and doing everything a kitchen maid would do. Because the other girl that was with me, she was a bit older than me, she done upstairs sort of thing, and I was helping out in the kitchen and doing all the rough work. I went to Bristol as a sewing maid. When I got there, of course, it got me a tin trunk in them days, mine. And first thing I had to do was to go and wash up some dirty crocks. I looked at the mistress and I said to her, I said, sewing maids don't do this. I said to her, mind, I was a cheeky, you see. I said, sewing maids don't do this. As though they have to do anything that I ask them to. Come the next day, I got to scrub a floor. Oh, I thought I was not having this. I sent home to our mother. I was back home on the Saturday. Well, let them do their own work. Yeah. I never went there to do that. No. Oh, then the war come, of course. And I went out into the woods. But what we did, you see, well, we followed the men cutting down the trees, and we'd burn all the browse. They'd put it in long lines in the field, wherever it was, and we'd burn the browse. Well, then all the bird would go to the pits for pit props. It was one of the happiest times of my life, actually. Oh gosh, yes, I used to love it.
I just liked the thought of working with trees in the fresh air, and I then went into forestry in a big way. All the oaks, well, most of the oaks have been planted after the war with France in 1810, and most of them had matured to a point where they were able to be used. And all the oak in the centre part of the forest was cut down and used to fence the motorway, the M4. Every piece of wood going up the M4 came out of the Dean, hundreds and hundreds of tons, and we used to get half a crown a cubic measure, which in theory was not its value, but that's all the timber merchants were prepared to give us for it.
Yeah.
And they came in and felled all the oak and saw it up and turned it into fencing. It was replanted then with, in some places with oak, but a lot of places with conifer. And they grew very quickly, so a lot of those have been felled since and replanted again with spruce or whatever. You can't deny nature by just cutting down trees and putting different species of trees in. The ancient trees will come back all the time.
When we got married, I hadn't got any work. I was out of work. So you told we had some.
Mad idiots.
Well, we were in a way, but I didn't care. We got one another. That's all that mattered to me.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, well, I think when you're young, you don't really
We don't
notice the lack of money
No,
because
you don't.
in those days everybody was in a similar position.
We
There wasn't much money about.
when we first got married, the first going off when we were trying to buy our home and that, on the Monday morning we hadn't got a halfpenny.
Oh,
But we
I
could always
used
go
to
down to
have-
the co-op and we could have our groceries
Oh,
and pay on
yeah.
the Friday lot.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
But I got the best wife the world ever had. No, that's no joking. We are very, very happy.
I never had it put in my lap. I always had to work for it. I've lived a hard life, but a happy life. Happy life. But I have worked hard and worked on farms all my life.
Do you like working? Did you like working?
Oh, yes, quite happy. Come to have our dinners. We've got a big roaring fire made up for us. There was a man by the name of Mr. Dick Smith used to take us. And he did have a big fire and a cup of tea. Oh, we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. And of course with a bag of potatoes as well. We take on the quiet. Of course, that in them days people were so friendly and that, and they seemed different altogether, didn't they?